A few weeks ago, I talked about my favorite console, the PlayStation 2, but this week is the 2-year anniversary of Badman Reviews, so I wanted to talk about a console I grew up with, the Nintendo 64, and I wanted to give my top 10 on my favorite Nintendo 64 games. But before we get started, let's get some ground rules out of the way. First off, there will not be any Zelda on this list, seeing as Majora's Mask has topped pretty much every single one of my lists on this channel. Secondly, only one game per franchise. And lastly, there's not going to be Banjo-Kazooie on this list because I still haven't really played it, so don't kill me please. Now with that out of the way, let's continue on to the countdown. But first, before we get on with this list, there are a few honorable mentions I didn't want to cut from the list, but I just had to make room for other games. Some of these include Blast Corps, the Mega Man everyone hates except for me, the super crazy and funny Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, and
Hydro Thunder!
Now that those games are out of the way, let's hop into number 10. Number 10!
Let's go!
Yep, Bomberman Hero. I know almost everyone loves Bomberman 64 1 and 2 way more than Hero, but I myself love Bomberman Hero so much. I played it so much when I was a kid, and to this day I still can't beat it. I've gotten to the final planet where you have to do a boss rush, but I could never defeat Nadia and Cronus. Overall, I love the design and look of every level, and I found the gameplay to be extremely fun, especially in the later levels, and I personally don't see why the game gets so much hate. I say give it a second chance if you didn't like it, and have some fun throwing bombs at bad guys.
Number 9. Let's go!
007 GoldenEye, besides being one of my favorite films in the James Bond series, is also my favorite FPS game for the N64. And that can be easily understood since it revolutionized the FPS genre and built the pathway for the FPS games out today, introducing multiplayer to the masses and bringing some great shooting mechanics to the public's eye. One of my favorite things to do in GoldenEye was grab trip mines and toss them on an ammo crate and pick it up. This would make the mines invisible, so when your friend would go to pick up the ammo, blam! Explosions and they died, you win, and then you laughed. Plus, all the cheat codes also made the game that much more fun. Adding in special characters, paintball mode, and big head mode was super fun. Unless your friend was Oddjob, because then you could never shoot him because of how short Oddjob was. Character was cheap, stupid. Screw Oddjob, no one loves him.
Number 8. Let's go!
I've already talked about my love for Pokemon Snap a few times, and it's really hard for me to justify it to my friends on why I love a rail shooter about taking pictures of Pokemon. And I've always considered it to be how the game uses Pokemon evolution and placement as a puzzle mechanic, making you find a way to cause a Pokemon to evolve to get you extra points, or looking in cool locations to find a Pokemon you've never seen before. This included with some awesome scenic levels and cool extras to find, like hidden Pokemon looking figures and a bonus level that has you taking a picture of Mew. There's just so much to do that you have to have fun, unless you hate Pokemon. The only thing I can hope for now is a Pokemon Snap for the Wii U, because it is literally the perfect console for the game to be on. The tablet is the camera. Come on guys, get on it!
Number 7. Let's go!
Wave Race 64. One of the first games I owned in box, mostly due to how cheap it was, but also due to how much I love it. The thrill of running over the waves and crashing past your opponents to one rocking soundtrack is just outstanding. This is another one of those games that is hard to explain why you love it, but overall it just has to be how well it controls, the feeling of riding over the waves, and all the different weather conditions you can ride in. Other than that, there really isn't too much else that can be said, so next!
Number 6. Let's go.
It's time to hate your friends because it's Mario Party time! And it was really hard for me to pick which one of the party games I wanted on this list because I really loved the first game when I was younger due to the story and how Bowser steals all of your money at the end and then you have to go to the broken star board. I just found it so cool. But when it came down to it, Mario Party 2 just had all of my favorite minigames and boards. Some of my favorite minigames are Hot Rope Jump, Lava Tile Isle, Bumper Balls, Bombs Away, Hexagon Heat, Slot Car Derby, and so many more that I always have fun playing. On the other hand, while thinking of Mario Party 3, I had trouble finding any minigames I really enjoyed or any maps I remembered having tons of fun in. So overall in the end, Mario Party 2 was still the obvious choice. But don't get me wrong, many friendships were killed using Mario Party.
Number 5. Let's go.
It's time to get our Rampage on with Rampage 2 Universal Tour, which I don't know how someone can't love. It's a game about destroying stuff and having fun doing it. I decided to pick the second game over the first just due to remembering how much fun it was. Plus, the choice of having even more monsters to play as after you unlock them is great. Plus, they are all put into funny positions, like the lizard being in Japan, the monkey being in New York, and the werewolf being in London. See if you can figure out what all of those jokes mean. I also love seeing all of the cool items and trying to figure out if I grab that, will I throw up or be electrocuted? Or will it be a good thing to eat? You almost never know till you finally grab it and shove it down your giant mouth. Plus, playing this game multiplayer with friends is just a blast, especially if you choose to be mean to each other and just beat each other up.
Number 4. Let's go.
I'm not a huge fan of turn-based RPGs, and it's hard for me to get into them, but Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64 is just so outstanding, I couldn't help but love it. When I was younger, I got this game expecting something like Mario 64, but ended up with an RPG, but the characters, art style, action buttons during battles, and story really kept me playing the game. And since then, I have loved the series, with Thousand Year Door being one of my favorite games I have ever played. So for someone who isn't a fan of turn-based gameplay, to say this is one of my favorite games ever made really means a lot. And for anyone who has played this game, you know exactly what I mean when I say it just has this special feeling to it that not many other games can replicate.
Number 3. Let's go.
Star Fox 64, as I stated in my favorite games list of all time way back 2 years ago, was a game I recently picked up and learned the joys of fast-paced space shootouts. And I can't say how much I am excited for Star Fox Wii U, since it has been too long since we have had a great Star Fox game. And I need something like Star Fox 64 to feed my Star Fox needs. I need to fly over lakes of lava, shooting giant lava monsters, have giant space battles, and just have some great multiplayer fun. But overall, I have never had as much fun playing an old school game that I heard was good for the first time than I did playing Star Fox 64.
Number 2. Let's go.
Mario Kart 64 was a game I have always played with my dad when I was growing up, and he would always beat me using glitches and jumps that I could never do as a kid, and can still barely do to this day, including jumping over the wall in Wario Stadium, the giant jump in Rainbow Road, and many others. It was always fun playing with my dad, and it is some of my first memories of gaming I can remember. Until this day, there have only been a few times that I have actually beaten him in Mario Kart. Other than the great memories I've had with my dad, the game overall is just an outstanding experience, with great items, memorable maps, and great pick up and play gameplay, so anyone of any skill can really enjoy the game, compared to the Mario Kart now with millions of pieces that really confuse newcomers. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy them, but I know many people who just don't get how they work. So that's why I really enjoy the old school classic Mario Kart 64 that brings it back to its roots, but doesn't get too old like Super Mario Kart does.
It's me, number 1. Let's go.
Donkey Kong 64 has to be my favorite Nintendo 64 game besides Majora's Mask, and that's due to how amazing of a collectathon it is, with a huge world that was so big it required the expansion pack. I loved all of the crazy characters you could play as with all of their abilities and weapons, plus there's just so much to collect. I loved every minute of 101%ing this game. The musical score done by Grant Kirkhope is also outstanding, just like every other game he's done. There's just too much perfection in this game to not love, with great level design, fun mini games, and over 1,000 items to collect. I've always loved collectathon platformers like this game, Mario, Banjo, and many more, and it makes me really sad that there aren't any more games like this, which makes me really excited for a Hat in Time, but till then, I'll just have to keep playing Donkey Kong 64. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and sticking with me for 2 years. It means so much, and I hope I can continue to make videos for you guys for years to come as my content becomes greater and continues to grow. So thank you all again, and I'll see you all in the next video.